Einstein said if you keep doing the same things the same way, expecting a different result, that's insanity. We have been insane for decades. Because nothing gets better. Nothing gets fixed. When was the last time something got fixed in Washington, D.C.? Time's up. And Harry Reid, the majority leader in the Senate, he says, oh, the art of compromise is how Washington, D.C. works. What that means is you're never going to get the right solution to anything unless you have the right leader in the White House. And that's what this is about. The only person in Washington, D.C. that can single-handedly change the culture or change the direction is the president. Now, if you elect the wrong person, we see what we get. And so our challenge is we've got to elect the right person who is not afraid to be a president of the people, by the people and for the people. That simply means somebody that's regular folk. I've actually run a company. I've actually signed a payroll. I've actually created jobs. You know, stuff that they don't know anything about in Washington, D.C. And I understand what the American people are feeling in terms of being frustrated with what's going on. I describe our national situation as we are in a crisis of crises. Plural. We have an economic crisis. The policies, in the vernacular of my grandfather, ain't working. They want to ignore the fact that $1 trillion in spending is not doing what they promised it would do. We have an economic crisis. It is an economic crisis not only because the policies are not working, but also because we're growing at an anemic 2.6% rate of GDP a year. China is growing at 10% plus or minus some change. They're growing at 10% on a much smaller base of about $6 trillion. We're growing at 2.5% on a base of $14 trillion. And in 15 to 20 years, they will be as big as we are economically. To me, that is a crisis. Because they have 1 billion more people. They want their military to be as big and capable and powerful as ours. They are not there yet. And they hold 26% of our debt. Do you want somebody that does not love us having that kind of power and that kind of influence in the world? I don't think so. And so somebody asked me when I was in Iowa a couple of months ago, well, Mr. Cain, well, what is your China strategy? 3 words. Outgrow them. Outgrow. That's our China strategy. That's our India strategy. That is what we have to do. We have an entitlement crisis. Yes. And they are playing chicken in Washington to see who touches it first. We don't need chicken in Washington, D.C. We need leadership in Washington, D.C. And it has to come from the White House. I believe that we can go from an entitlement society to an empowerment society. We have got to stop creating programs that encourages people to become dependent on government. We must restructure every government program to help people to help themselves, but not help people to become dependent upon the program indefinitely. Example, remember the big debate over extending unemployment benefits? Here's what the Herman Cain approach would have been. You get 13 weeks, and then if you qualify, you get 26 weeks, and if you qualify, you get another 13. If you needed to get some more assistance after that 13 weeks, you get 7.5. If you need some assistance after that, You get half of whatever half of 7.5 is. Because it has been demonstrated that when people know that unemployment benefits run out, a third of them find a job within a month. Go figure.